This is Goku Sun DBZ, and welcome to a new anime review. First one in a while, I know. I haven't done, this is only like my third anime review. First was Season 1 of Dragon Ball GT. Last was, of course, Street Fighter 2V anime series. Now, this will be just Season 1 so far. I'm rewatching, personally, right now, one of my favorite animes of all time. If not, actually, my number 2 favorite anime series of all time. And just now starting to rewatch Season 2. Thought I'd do a review on Season 1 and share and let you know if you've actually never personally watched any of this particular anime series, you should really check it out, because I believe it's all on Hulu. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not. I think it may be. I think it's also on Amazon streaming services as well. And, of course, Crunchyroll. And I'm reviewing Season 1 of Yu Hakusho. Spirit Files, or Ghost Files, whichever. Of course, this show revolves around the and/protagonist character Yusuke Urameshi, which ends up at the beginning of the story, oddly enough, finds himself dead. And he ends up realizing very quickly by the end of the first episode that he's already dead, because he jumped in front of a car to save a little boy's life, which and stuff, but like he then goes back and thought about what happened throughout the day, where we see him going to school and stuff, and of course clashing with some of his teachers, specifically one particular douchebag teacher, as well as many other, and of course we meet for the first time in episode 1, what would be of course the love interest of our dear anti-hero Yusuke Urameshi. And that being, of course, the girl, which he ends up realizing later on that he actually falls in love with her. And that is, of course, a childhood friend of his. Her name is Keiko Yukimura. Which, to be fair, this show and this character is probably the reason to this day why I think probably my favorite of female Japanese names, probably my favorite personally, I like the sound of and everything, is the name Keiko, because of this character, Keiko Yukimura. But Yusuke Urameshi is an interesting character, very much so. Very different than some of your other pro/antagonist type characters, well, I guess protagonists, but he does a lot of douchebag things at times. That's part of the characteristics of Yusuke. But you kind of understand a few things, given his mother is lazy, basically stays at home, smokes and drinks. Not exactly the best role model type of person, just saying. But this comes from somebody who practices straight edge lifestyle, so take it as you will. But anyways, back on topic. But yeah, at the end, he realizes he's actually died. And he ends up meeting this girl behind him in a pink kimono, of course blue hair, which we would come to know as definitely a fan favorite character throughout the entire series. And that being, of course, the character Buton, which is a Grim Reaper. And flies on a paddle, I guess you could say. But it makes sense since, I have to fly up the river Styx in order to get to the spirit world, which is where she ends up taking him, and he ends up coming face to face with, of course, he thinks he's going to come face to face with the giant King Yama, which, of course, we have a similar character, King Yama, actually in Dragon Ball Z universe, surprisingly, and somewhat similar design and look. Of course, we meet, though, instead, Prince Kuima, or just Kuima, or Junior, which, of course, takes the form of just a little child and always has a pacifier in his mouth. Of course, Yusuke gives him the nickname Pacifier Breath, which is kind of a funny nickname to be fair, and personally, I actually really like the character Quima, but it just really based off, and that's a great thing. You got such a variety of characters which come into this series. So depending on your personality, traits, and things, or what you find most interesting, there's going to be a character for everyone. Whether it be the more douchey at times protagonist of Yusuke Urameshi, whether it be, of course, the love interest Keiko Yukimura, whether it be also, of course, Botan, awesome character, which, funny enough, is voiced by the same actress who does the voice of Chi-Chi in towards the end, Dragon Ball, of course, throughout Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and I haven't seen the English dub so far of Dragon Ball Super, but I assume they probably use the same voice actress. It would make sense, keep in mind. But you'll have a lot throughout this series, a lot of English dub voice actors from Dragon Ball Z and stuff in this show, but it only makes sense because the English dub was done by Funimation. Case in point, the main character, Yusuke Urameshi, is done by my personal favorite English dub voice actor of all time. Period. A lot of people would say other characters from like Bandai anime and stuff, like, of course, characters like Hero or whatever from Gundam Wing, but for me, it's the executive producer over the English dubbing in most of the Funimation animes, including Dragon Ball Z. He's done multiple voices throughout the years. He's done some villain voices in Yu Yu Hakusho. He also did the voice of Super Majin Buu in Dragon Ball Z, as well as a couple other characters in DBZ and GT. You probably know him best by another name. Oh wait, he didn't do Buu. I think he did Perfect Cell. My bad. His name is Justin Cook. I've gone to several now anime conventions. Sadly, as of yet, I have not gotten to meet Justin Cook, which is the one English dub voice actor for anime I would love to meet in person and ask him a lot of things, especially about him doing the character Yusuke Urameshi in all 112 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho. But anyways, I digress again. Anyways, of course, we also learn about a rival of his at the school he goes to, and that being, of course, Kuwabara, which will become a fan favorite throughout the years. Fun fact, quickly, the voice actor who does the voice of Kuwabara does in Dragon Ball Z the voice of Piccolo, and also, I forget the other character he does the voice of. I think it may also do the voice of Vegeta, actually, if I'm not mistaken, but I know for a fact he does the voice of Piccolo. But Kuwabara is a hilarious character. Anyways, Yusuke goes through an ordeal with, of course, this egg to hatch using his spiritual energy. He watches over Keiko and stuff, and he ends up coming back to life, of course. But he sacrifices his egg and stuff, which really surprises Quima and others. But anyway, he comes back to life, of course, and we see him and Kuwabara end up becoming allies now, no longer rivals, fighting each other. And through things, they end up deciding, particularly by Quima, gets sent to go to a martial arts tournament where this wise sage called Genkai hosts a tournament to find her pupil. And he mentions that there is this dangerous demon in disguise that is going to try to learn her abilities, the spirit wave technique. And so he ends up entering the tournament. He comes across Kuwabara in the tournament, of course. They come face to face with this demon, which has stolen the abilities of 99 psychics. But ends up being an interesting tournament. Fun fact also, voice actors or actresses. The voice of Genkai is voiced by the same person who does in Dragon Ball Z, Frieza. And the voice of the demon Rando, which I've actually met this voice actor at a couple years back at Tsubasa-con anime convention. Awesome dude, actually. He's a really cool guy that did the voice of Rando. He does the voice of adult Trunks. He did Trunks in some of the Dragon Ball Z movies. I don't think he did the original Trunks in DBZ, but he also did the English dub of Trunks in Dragon Ball GT as well. But I've met him, pretty cool guy, and good voice actor. He's done many other anime characters throughout the years, but I liked his job as the character Rando. And interesting character for the most part, and of course, through also stuff, but prior to that though, he ends up going after, first before that tournament I forgot to mention, these three demons which stole these three artifacts of darkness. You have the Orb of Boss, which captures living souls, which he has to defeat a mindless, stupid demon, which he ends up being relatively easy. Then he goes after the Mirror, which reflects a person's greatest desire and has to come face to face with somebody that would become a very trusted ally in the future, and probably, maybe, my favorite character in the entire series, perhaps. And that being Kurama, which of course in the human world he goes by the name Suiji. I don't want to try to say the last name because I don't want to mispronounce his name. But Suiji, or Kurama, come to find out, was a spirit fox, of course. And throughout the years gained powers of a demon. And he escaped after getting injured from pursuers and stuff from the spirit world. Which were which I'll talk about. Those people will appear in the anime in like season 3. That's season 1. Anyways, and Kurama is a fascinating character. But we learn more of his backstory later on as the show progresses. He uses a signature weapon called Rose Whip, which is awesome. And of course, the last one, he has to get back the demon sword. Any human that gets cut by the demon sword becomes a sluggish demon of sorts. And it's held by who would become like the Vegeta of Yu Hakusho. Similar, even with the hairdo and everything. And his name is, of course, Hiei. Hiei is one badass character. He really is a cool character. Actually, probably one of my more favorite anti-hero characters. But Kurama is my favorite because of the complexity to his character. And his evolution. Though, Hiei has a lot of evolution from when you first meet him. He's a real douche, to be honest. He kidnaps Keiko and everything. Anyways, he end up having to fight. He has a fake eye input, like in his forehead, called the Jagan Eye. Or the eye, rather, in Hinduism, known as the Eye of the Spirit. Also known in Chakra, of course, or Hado, which of course we learn about in, obviously, Street Fighter 2V. Anyways, it's very interesting, and then end up seeing these creatures and stuff, and there ends up the shadow creatures like from Demon World, but not the true depths of Demon World, just the lighter side, and becomes the main case. Kuwabara and Yusuke have to go to this castle called Maze Castle and defeat these 4 creatures called the Saint Beasts. How a beast is a saint, I do not know. Yusuke even asked that question himself, which I think me and a lot of fans were thinking ourselves. This was awesome. I really like the Saint Beasts. Each had their own characteristics and offering liar sentences and stuff for previous crimes. Kurama and Hiei end up traveling and also helping out Yusuke and Kuwabara. And for the first time, we see the group of 4 characters together team up. Definitely interesting for the most part. I like them. Not so much some of the earlier characters. You have some cool characters, like first beast they face is a rock creature, which Kurama defeats. Then you have this beast, cat creature, which Kuwabara finally beats Yakan. I forget the name of the third Saint Beast. Like, he has the power of ice and stuff. He's like a 10-foot, 12-foot tall giant, called, like, Ice Dragon Punch. He puts his ice power, though not the greatest, is impressive and could probably, definitely prove a challenge for even Sub-Zero. But, definitely an awesome character. And then finally Yusuke faces the head of the 4 Saint Beasts, Suzaku, which has interesting abilities like his lightning special attack called Storm of Torment. Then he has his own version of like multi-form where he can turn himself. I'm trying to remember what he calls it now, the ability name. Really awesome to watch, and I liked the Suzaku character. I liked his design and look. It was very interesting, and his interesting talking demon bird pet, which I forget her name. But anyways, after that, ends up another case. They have to go and rescue this ice apparition, which is what they call demons, apparitions in this series, which is an interesting name. In a lot of ways, Yu Hakusho is like a more mature version of Dragon Ball Z, really. There's actually a lot of people who like Yu Hakusho that don't like Dragon Ball Z, because the overall length of the fights episode-wise, even the longest fight in Yu Hakusho I think lasts maybe 4 or 5 episodes at the max. And that's pretty much the fight at the end of Season 2, the Dark Tournament Saga. But, anyways, they go face, and come to find out, the reason why this ice apparition was kidnapped and stuff by this evil crime boss called Gonzo Chirukane. Hope I pronounced it correctly. Gonzo Chirukane, yeah, not a pleasant fellow, the richest man in the black market and everything in demon trade. And the reason he likes to torment and cause pain to this actually very beautiful young lady, ice apparition, Yukina, part of a rare group of ice apparitions. And here is Seki stones. When they cry, it creates special jewels and stuff from the tears, which is why he causes her pain, to cause her to cry and create these rare, expensive, valuable stones. But yeah, it's the name of them. Here is Zeki stones. Interesting. But we also find out the reason why, kind of interesting, but we find out why Koema doesn't want Hiei to know about this. Because come to find out, Hiei is actually Yukina's brother. Half-brother, because the ice, tribe and stuff, race, through some weird process, can give natural birth to women, girls, and stuff, and it's been that way for thousands of years. The only way you can have a boy is if actually been with, a male demon or human or whatever. And that's how Hiei came to be, because he was born in complete polar opposite element to his people, because his people's race were that of ice, of course. He has the abilities of fire. So it puts him in exact polar opposite of his race, his breed, I guess you could say, of demon heritage. But it's interesting. We never get to learn about his father's background, unfortunately, or even who his father was. But they end up also finding out these two powerful demons come to the house to cause the pain and stuff. And they're head of this demon crime gang called the Apparition Gang. Yeah, real original type of thing. Call themselves the Apparition Gang. But they are not pleasant people. They are both brothers, which we come to know better in Season 2 in the Dark Tournament saga. They are called the Toguro brothers. Of course, you have the older brother, which is thin and raggedy, called Elder Toguro. And then we have normal one, Toguro, which we learn more backstory on these two in Season 2, which I'll wait for Season 2 review in the future of. Which hopefully in the next maybe 2 weeks or so I will review once I get done rewatching that. Because I'm on like the second or third episode of Season 2 right now. But anyways, they end up fighting all these demons, and then the Triad, which is like the 3 general demons of the gang, Yusuke and Kuwabara. Of course, Botan tags along, and they go into this place. They end up coming face to face with the Toguro brothers. And taking revenge, Gonzo Torukane calls his buddies from his own little secret society group called the Black Club. And they like to do a lot of gambling, I guess you could say. Sorry, I was coughing. But they end up banging like money, and we meet this new crime member, which will become very important in Season 2. His name is Sakio, which will become very important to the story arc of Season 2. Will even have somehow played an influence in Season 3 as well. Called, of course, Season 3 was known as the, Chapter Black Saga. But anyways, to cut this up, review, they end up face to face, and they end up bigger bets, and he ends up betting the exact worth exactly of Gonzo Chirukane, and basically whoever wins the fight, Togoro's win, Chirukane wins. If Yusuke, Urameshi, and Kuwabara win, then of course Sakio gets the money. Which the bet was for 66,200,000,000. And yeah, needless to say, very interesting turn of events. In the end, they end up succeeding because Kuwabara jumps on Yusuke's spirit gun energy attack, which is like his, I guess you could say, Kamehameha wave, because it's the signature of the series. And he also has another one called Shotgun, which can do multiple at the same time with his spirit energy. And anyways, they defeat the Toguro brothers because Kuwabara has the ability to create a spirit sword, energy sword, made of pure spiritual energy. Which is no surprise, because he has special psychic powers. But in the end, though, later on after they've left, and Kuwabara rescues Yukina, which he ends up falling in love at first sight with Yukina. And hard to say how he would feel if he ever learned that Yukina was actually sister of Hiei, given how much Hiei and Kuwabara don't really like each other. I guess you could say it's sort of similar to the way Piccolo and Vegeta feel about each other in some ways. They're a little more childish in ways. But anyways, but we see in the end the Togoros threw the fight and acted like they died and stuff. Which Koema learns when they kept recording. There's somehow some supernatural ability they're able to watch and record events on Earth. How, I'm not quite sure, but who knows with Spirit World, how everything works. But they learn, because it was all rigged in advance by Sakio. so Sakio could get all the money and stuff. And we find out why Sakio wants that money and everything come to season 2. And sets up really a good job. The first season really helps sets up this anime world and everything in it. And helps sets up everything perfectly for season 2, and even elements here and there in season 1 that help lead into season 3 onward. Which is impressive, because you don't get sometimes animes putting in place Easter eggs that will prove to be useful to know in the future. Not many animes do that. And this was a pretty decent length series, because most animes are like one season, on average 20-some episodes. This show lasted 4 seasons, 112 episodes. Pretty impressive. But this is more or less the end of season 1 of Yu Hakusho anime review. Hope you enjoyed this and found it a little bit interesting. If you haven't seen Yu Hakusho, I'm hoping maybe this review convinces you to actually check it out, because I really recommend it. If you like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball or a series like that, you will definitely enjoy this, even more so with a lot of the same voice actors from that series, which is really good for the most part. I really enjoy it, and you get to see the first the first match, more or less, of the first fight of team versus team at the Dark Tournament. But I'll explain more about the Dark Tournament in Season 2 Yu Hakusho Anime Review. Until next time, this is Goku7DBZ signing out, and I'll see you again soon enough for some future anime reviews. And also some gameplay footage I'll be recording over Saturday and Sunday. A bunch more videos of gameplay from, of course, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD. So see you then, and see you for a couple of comic book reviews in the works. A couple more episodes or reviews coming your way over the next week. Of hopefully at least 2 more Street Fighter comic book reviews, from Street Fighter 2 the Ultimate Edition. And at least 1 this weekend review from Mortal Kombat X, Blood Ties. And then we'll begin the 4 parts of Volume 2 of Mortal Kombat X, called Blood Gods. But I'll see you again for that. And for this week, and also expect to see Issue 2 of Injustice 2 to be put up this weekend. I'll see you then, and hope everyone has a good weekend out there, and a good rest of May. See you then.